Today we'll start the unit number 5. Okay, the name of the unit is design of IC engine component. IC engine component means internal combustion engine. Already you have learned what is the internal combustion engine. You have learned also 2-stroke engine, 4-stroke engine in the thermal subject in second year, right? Today we'll see the design parameters, or we'll see the main component of the IC engine, how to design the IC engine components. All these things we'll see in the today's lecture. Okay, you know the major component of the internal combustion engine as cylinder and cylindrical head. Then second is a piston, third is a connecting rod, fourth is a crank, also we can say the crank pin and crankshaft, and last is a valve gear mechanism. This 5 we can use for the main component of the IC engine as given. Okay, and see the design of the IC engine, of the design of major component of the IC engine. The design of this IC engine components we will discuss one by one. First is a cylinder and cylinder head. Cylinder and cylinder head. You know the primary function of the cylinder is to contain the working fluid, or we can say the expanding gases, while its secondary function is to guide the piston. Okay, the cylinder and cylinder head is guide to the piston. This is the secondary function of the cylinder and cylinder head. Okay, we will discuss the different parameters, okay, with the reference of the design of the cylinder and cylinder head. First we'll see the construction of the cylinder and cylinder liner. Second, there are different types of the stresses are induced in the cylinder liners. Okay, we'll find out that stresses. And third is a design of cylinder and cylinder head. We'll see the subsequent parameters of the cylinder and cylinder head. Okay, first we'll going on the construction of the cylinder liners. See in this figure, there is a small engine. The cylinder and the water jacket are cast as a one piece. Okay, and there is a no separate cylinder liners. Okay, there is no separate cylinder liners. In large engine, the separate cylinder liner is pressed inside the cylinder. If you have seen the small engine, then there is a no any separate cylinder liners. But if you have taken the large engine, you will get the separate cylinder liner is pressed inside the cylinder. This is the small engine and large engine. Okay, here is a separate cylinder liner is used. Cylinder liner with water jacket and frame are manufactured separately in the large engine. Remember the difference in the small engine and large engine. The separate cylinder liners offers, there are number of advantages. First is a liner can be easily replaced and wear and tear is less. Okay, easily you can replace after wear and tear. Okay, then second is a high grade wear and tear resistance because of cast iron can be used. Okay, for the liner, and cheaper grade material can be used for the jacket. Third advantage is a separate liner type construction can take care of the longitudinal thermal expansion. There is a less longitudinal thermal expansion in the large engine. Then there are different types of the cylinder liners. there are two types of the cylinder liners. First is a wet type and second is a dry type. Okay, this is the some figure with the jacket. You can observe that figure. Okay, I have already explained. Then types of the liner. There are two types of the liner, dry liner and wet liner. What is mean by wet liner? See in the figure, the water jacket is directly contact with the outer wall of the liner. As shown in figure, that figure, see wet liner, this is the directly connected to the wall, outer wall of the liner. Okay, the water jacket is formed in a space between the liner and cylinder block. In engine having bore, the bore diameter is more than 125 mm. Usually they are used liner used in the wet liner. Wet liner. Okay, remember that. Wet liner. Is there any advantages of the wet liners? Yes. Cylinder blocks are easy to manufacture in the wet liner. Cylinder blocks are relieved of the longitudinal traces due to their more thermal expansion of the liner, and cooling is more effectively due to the contact of the water jacket. Okay, they are contact with the water jacket, that's why you will get cooling is a more effective in the wet liner. This there is a one disadvantages, the replacement of the liner is very difficult and there is a danger of the water jacket leakage problem. If there is a leakage problem, then we want to the replace the liner. This liner when you replace, this is very difficult to replace. Okay, all of you getting. Then second type is a dry liner. Dry liner. In the dry liner, see where is the water jacket. There is no direct contact of the water jacket with the liner. Okay, they are given the water jacket is made into the cylinder block itself. See in the figure, dry liner, where is this place? Okay, and having the bore diameter less than 125 mm, dry liners are used. In the wet liner, the bore diameter is greater than 125, but in the dry liner, this diameter is less than 125. The advantage of the dry liner, the replacement of liner are very easy because they are separate from the boundary. That's why it is very easy to replace. Okay, and there is no danger of the water jacket leakage, right? Then disadvantage of the dry liner is the cylinder blocks are complicated and hence difficult to the manufacture. And heat dissipation is not very effective through the composite wall of the liner and the cylinder. This is the one of the disadvantage of the dry liner. Then which type of material is used to make the cylinder liner? Material should be strong. Okay, material should be hard and corrosion resistance and should be provided the good bearing surface. Good bearing surface, remember that. This at the outer surface of the cylinder liner, the tensile thermal stresses adds to the tensile pressure stresses. Okay, remember that. However, it is improvement to the note that the thermal stresses are usually small and hence can be neglected. We are neglecting the thermal stresses because these stresses are very small. Then design of the cylinder and cylinder head. Okay, you know the terminology of the cylinder and cylinder head, and also you know the procedure of the design of cylinder and cylinder head. We'll see the procedure how to design the cylinder and cylinder head. We require the cylinder bore diameter and stroke length. Okay, here is a cylinder bore diameter is D and stroke length is given L. Then thickness of the cylinder wall. We are consider here thickness of the cylinder wall is T. Okay, Then thickness of the cylinder flange, check that TF is denoted by the thickness of the cylinder flange. Then thickness of the cylinder head, TH is denoted by the thickness of the cylinder head. And diameter of the bolt, okay, diameter of the bolt is denoted by the O, diameter of the bolt, and it is also called as a stud diameter, stud diameter, okay. And last is a pitch of the bolt, pitch of the bolt, okay. Here you have given the PCD of that cylinder and the cylinder head. Then there are two centers are given. Top dead center, it is denoted by the TDC, and bottom dead center, it is denoted by the BDC, okay. Then how to calculate the cylinder bore D and stroke length L, okay. We will see the some formulae. Before going on that formulae, you should calculate the indicated power of the cylinder, okay. How to calculate the indicated power of the cylinder? It is denoted by the IP. IP is equal to, you know the formula, PM into L into A into N divided by 60, divided by 60, okay. What is PM? PM is a indicated mean effective pressure. This is given in Newton per meter square, Newton per meter square. Then L is the length, L is the piston stroke or length of the stroke. This is given in meter. A is the cross sectional area of the cylinder. This is given in meter square, pi d square by 4. This is the area. And D is the bore diameter, or we can say the cylinder bore. This is given in meter, or we can say the inner diameter of the cylinder. Remember the meaning of the each and every notation, okay. N is the number of working stroke per minute, per minute. If you calculate per second, then again you have to multiply by 3, okay. If you have given equal to N only, then this is given for the two stroke engine, and N by 2 is given, then you will getting the given for the 4 stroke engine. N is the engine speed, this is given in RPM. Calculate the N. Then you can put L is equal to 1.5 D, 1.5 D. This value in between the 1.25 to 2, remember that, okay. Then how to calculate the mechanical efficiency of the engine, okay. This mechanical efficiency you will get the 80%. You know that we required the power developed at crankshaft, this is the brake power, okay, divided by power produced inside the cylinder, indicating power IP. It is the ratio of brake power to the indicated power. Then you will get the mechanical efficiency, and is equal to 80%, okay. Length of the cylinder is 15% more than the stroke. Remember that the relation, length of the cylinder is 15% more than the stroke. Then you will get the 1.15 L. Capital L is equal to 1.15 L, okay. Remember that, all of you getting. Then the material used for the cylinder liner are, we are using the material gray cast iron, alloy cast iron, okay. Then containing nickel chromium and nickel chromium molybdate cast steel, okay. The cylinder liners are heat treated from inside and then finalized by honing operation. We are doing the honing operation. Then there are different types of the stresses induced in the cylinder, okay. There are two types of the stresses induced in the cylinder liners, okay. First is a pressure stress and second is a thermal stress. What is mean by pressure stress? Okay, due to the high pressure of the gas, the circumferential and longitudinal stresses are induced in the cylinder liner, okay. If the gas pressure is very high, then circumferential and longitudinal stresses are induced in the cylinder liner. The stresses are known as a pressure stresses. Both the circumferential and longitudinal stresses are tensile, you will get the both the stresses are tensile. If the longitudinal stress is small as compared to the circumferential stress. Okay, remember that this longitudinal stress are very high, less as compared to the circumferential stress. All of you getting the pressure stress. And then thermal stress. The cylinder liner having very high temperature, then it is not free to the expand in high temperature, hence the thermal stresses are induced in the cylinder liner. Remember that if there is a high temperature, then it is not free to expand, hence the thermal stresses are induced in the cylinder liner. The inner surface of the cylinder liner is subjected to the very high temperature as compared to the outer surface. Yes, as compared to the outer surface, inner surface temperature is very high. The compressive thermal stresses are induced in the inner surface of the cylinder liner, at the tensile stresses induced at the outer surface of the cylinder liner. Okay, there are thermal stresses, and you will get the outer surface of the cylinder liner. The thermal stresses is proportional to the temperature difference between the thinner surface and the outer surface of the cylinder liner. It is depend on the thinner surface and outer surface of the cylinder liner. Second, the wall thickness of the cylinder liner. It is depend on the wall thickness of the cylinder liner. And third is a modulus of elasticity of the cylinder liner material. Okay, means which material you have used. Check the modulus of elasticity of that material. This is depend on the cylinder liner material. Again, stresses. Then thermal stresses can be reduced by, how to reduce that thermal stresses? Reducing the wall thickness of the cylinder liner. Second is increasing the velocity of water flow through the jacket. You should increase the velocity of the water flow through the jacket, then you can reduce the thermal stresses. Okay, and third is resultant stresses. At the inner surface of the cylinder liner, the compressive thermal stresses are relieved the tensile pressure stresses. Tensile pressure stresses. Remember that. Then see the equation. Again, we have seen that equation already, right? This equation we have seen, BP N is equal to BP divided by IP. Okay, what is the BP value? Okay, this equation you have to check that. We want to calculate the thickness of the cylinder wall. How to calculate that thickness of the cylinder wall? T is equal to P max divided by D divided by 2 sigma C plus C. T is the thickness of the wall in mm. P max is the maximum gas pressure inside the cylinder. Maybe 10 pm is there. Okay, P max. Sigma C is the permissible circumferential stress. This is also given in sigma MPa. Sigma T is equal to, you know that we have seen in the design of pressure vessel. Sigma T is equal to SUT divided by factor of safety. This value may be is equal to 35 to 100 MPa. C is the reboring. Reboring allowances. Okay, when we use that reboring allowances, see here the reboring allowances is additional thickness on the wall thickness. Additional thickness on the wall thickness to compensate uneven wear on inner wall of the cylinder. Okay, and last is to compensate reboring at intervals during lifetime of cylinder. This value is given related to the diameter. Okay, which diameter? Reboring factor and cylindrical bore diameter. If the cylindrical bore is 75 mm, then what is the reboring allowance? 1.5 mm. If the diameter, again cylindrical bore diameter is 100, then reboring allowance is 2.4 is there. 2.4 is there. To the 500, then you will get the value for reboring allowance 12.5. you should choose the value reboring factor from the table. Then you can calculate the thickness of the cylinder wall. T is equal to P max into D divided by 2 sigma all, or we can say the sigma C. Permissible means sigma allowable is there, right? Sigma allowable is there, plus C. C is the reboring factor is given. Reboring factor is given. This is given on the depend on the thickness of the cylinder flange TF. Okay, you should find out that value also. Then cylinder flange thickness TFC is equal to 1.2 T or 1.4 T. See that thickness is given TF, right? TDC, top dead center, is there. Cylindrical head thickness TH is equal to D into root of K into P max. K into P max divided by sigma C. Sigma C. What is the K again? See here, K is the constant. This value from 0.3 to 0.4. K is equal to 0.162. Here we are consider. Sigma C is the allowable circumferential stress for the head. Sigma C and sigma T is same in that case. Sigma C is equal to sigma T is equal to SUT divided by factor of safety, and this value will get in between 30 to 50 MPa. 30 to 50 MPa. D is the cylindrical bore. This value is given in mm. Okay, remember that. You will get the cylindrical flange thickness. Then see thickness of cylinder, we have seen that things. Then stresses in the thin cylinder. Thin cylinder, already we have seen that equations in the pressure vessel. Sigma C is equal to P max D divided by 2T. Again sigma L is equal to P max into D square divided by DO square minus D square. And net stress, you will get the sigma C net is equal to sigma C minus mu into sigma L, longitudinal stress, sigma L. And sigma L net is equal to sigma L minus mu into sigma C. Mu is equal to, you will get this Poisson's ratio as per the selecting material or design of the thin cylinder. Mu is equal to 0.25. Mu is equal to 0.25. Then next is the diameter of the bolt or stud. How to calculate? The cylinder cover is fitted on the cylinder with the help of number of bolts or stud, right? There will we are using the number of bolts or stud for fitting the cylinder cover. Okay, the load due to the gas pressure is taken by the bolts or stud, right? The material used for the stud are nickel steel. We are using the material for the stud or bolt nickel steel or nickel chromium steel. Okay, then you will get the diameter of the bolts. Diameter of the bolts of the stud can be determined by using that load equations, different equation. Load, preloading due to the spanner, the stud, right? If you are doing using spanner, then this you will get the preloading. Then further due to the internal pressure on piston head, and we want to find out the nominal diameter of the stud, number of stud and pitch of the stud. Then how to calculate? You know the area. dP is equal to PCD. In that case, see in the figure, I have shown the figure, the diameter of the bolt stud can be determined pi by 4 into d square, this is the area, into P max is equal to Z into pi by 4 dc square. Dc square, again dc square is the core diameter of the bolt or stud, into sigma t. Sigma t. Then you will get the dc is equal to d into root of P max divided by Z into sigma t. Some books you have given the Z notation, or some books you have given the N notation. Remember that both meaning are same. N or Z is denoted by for number of bolt or stud. Number of bolt or stud. If you have given the 4 bolt, then N or Z is equal to 4. Remember that. And see PCD of the stud, how to calculate, is equal to D plus 3D. D plus 3D. pitch of the stud pi dp divided by number of stud or bolt, again Z. Okay, number of stud or bolt. How to calculate the number of stud or bolt? Z is equal to d by 100 plus 4 to d by 50 plus 4. Okay, range of that pitch stud is given equal to 19 root of d to 28.5 root of d. Okay, d is the capital D is given for the core diameter of the bolt or stud. Small d is given for the nominal diameter of the bolt or stud. Again, this value is given in mm. Sigma all is allowable tensile stress for the bolt or stud. This value is given the Newton per mm square. Capital D again cylinder bore is given in mm. N is the or Z is equal to number of bolts or stud. The nominal diameter of the dB of the bolt stud should not less than 16 mm. Okay, the nominal diameter, this dB value should not less than 16 mm. Remember that. Then diameter of the bolt or stud, pitch circle and flange. Pitch circle diameter is equal to dp. Already we have seen d plus 3 dB. Okay. The outside diameter of the flange of the cylinder head, we can also calculate that diameter. Remember that. Okay. Then next, see, you have given the numerical in the next slide. Okay, we'll see that numericals in the next lecture. Today we'll stop here. All of you remember that how to design the cylinder and cylinder liner, which type of the stresses induced in the cylinder liners, you should remember that. Okay, pressure stresses or thermal stresses. Okay, again remember what is the difference between the wet and dry cylinder, both. Okay, today we'll stop here. Next lecture we'll see the numerical on the basis of sin formulas. Thank you.